Hey Nico, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
All
Yeah,
good.
good.
All good. I've got a bit of an issue with my mic on my laptop. I think I'm not sure if there's any feedback coming through, but let me know if there is, and I can grab my earbuds and go from there. No, all good. Cool. All right. A couple of minutes
Okay,
I had
sound
to
good.
wait. So I can hear myself. So if that does happen, then just let me know, and I'll grab my earbuds.
No, I feel like I can hear like a little tiny echo of myself. So we're just gonna do this and we're gonna see how it goes, but I don't hear an echo of you.
Sure. Sweet.
Awesome. Um, Thanks so much for meeting with me. I was super excited for this one. This album is a beast. When I started looking at your guys' history, because I'd never heard of you guys before because you're new, but yet you're not new. You're just new
Yeah,
with this name. So tell me a little bit about why you guys decided to change the name and if there's been challenges with the name change.
go on, Carl.
Um, a multitude of reasons, really. When I joined the band back in 2013. It was already Lay Siege then, so I was joining an already formed band, and there was maybe half an album written at that point. So we spent the next couple of years writing and recording that album. Released that in 2015. Did some tours off the back of it, and then the album wasn't really received probably as we had hoped. And I think in hindsight, you always look back and there would have been things that we would have changed, but at the time, you don't have that perspective, do you? So yeah, we had a couple of years to really take a step back and look at the music and look at who we were as a band, and decided to um, try and do one better, as every band does, I guess. So yeah, we started that process pre-COVID, and we wrote probably three albums worth of material, I'd say,
Nice.
before we really sort of landed on a sound we were happy with. We'd always like write a song, and then I'd just record it on my phone when we were at practice, and then we'd listen to it back through the week, and we'd all get to practice the next week and kind of look at each other and go, it's not right, it's not good enough, it's not what we had hoped it would be when we wrote it. And then Witness came along. And it was one of them moments in practice where it just happened. It happened very, very quickly, and we were like, "This is it." We demoed it, and we had a few iterations of it. It didn't really change a great deal, and that really, like I've said in other pieces now, like that set the tone for the rest of the record. So we had that song like, yeah, pre-COVID, debuted it live and everything like that, and we were like, right, this is it. We're gonna power on now and record the album early 2021. And then COVID hit. And then we had another period of reflection on the music. And we just, yeah, when we'd written the album and we'd been in the studio with Sam, we went up and recorded Witness, was like the first track we did with him. Um, yeah, we just got the masters back, and it didn't feel like a Lay Siege record. It felt like something different. And I think 2015 in music is a long, long time. So I think we need to refresh ourselves and refresh us as a band, and the music didn't represent what Lay Siege was. There's elements of the hardcore roots on the record, like, but literally just elements. So there's no there's no two-step moments or anything like that in the record. But yeah, it just felt like a brand new thing. And if it felt like that, while we to continue under Lay Siege, it's if we'd released it under Lay Siege, there would have been like three releases on the Spotify with the first EP, which wasn't me on it, and then the album, which sounds completely different to this album, and there would have just been no consistency at all. So we were like, look, let's leave Lay Siege where it was. What it did for us as people and becoming friends and everything like that was fantastic. But this is something new. We've got new ambitions, new things we want to achieve with this band. So let's have a rebrand. So yeah, just new things really. Shiny new things are always good, right? So that's the reason why.
Awesome, awesome. Tell me about the title of the album. It's a very thought-provoking title. So tell me why you chose, yeah, Chemical Wall.
That's you again.
Yeah, it's me again. I think we did this on the last Lay Siege record as well. Like the album title, if you read it, can be read two ways. It could be either read like "Hope is nowhere" or "Hope is now here," which was like a cool social experiment when you'd meet people and chat to them, and they'd like, "Oh, I love the album. Hope is now here," and you're like, "Oh, okay, you're a glass half full kind of person," and then 90% of people would say "Hope is nowhere," which was a reflection on people when you chat to them, I guess, but. Chemical Well, I don't know. I think COVID played a big part of that. We all sat in our houses, looking at our phones, being told this, being told that, not knowing what to do, and the rise of social media influencers and things like that. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm not part of it all. I have social media. I participate in the act of social media. It's necessary. It's required. But there's that other element of social media that I think is beginning to rear its head now. I think with especially a lot of the younger generations who have grown up on social media, we're lucky enough to have grown up kind of pre-internet, I guess, or before the boom of the internet, and not had phones when we went and saw friends, and not seen any of that. So our perspective's a little bit different. Whereas like a younger generation, of course, is growing up on it, and I think for all of its benefits, there's natural drawbacks, and those natural drawbacks can lead to terrible things happening, and can lead to decline in people's mental health and people's expectations of what life can be and what it should be. And yeah, I just think everything, like any screen that's pumping something at you, it's like a chemical well. Like you really have no control over what emotion you're going to feel. The algorithm's going to pump something at you that's popular, or pump something at you that's just completely left field. So for me, it's amazing. I can speak to you over a video now, and we can have a chat, and it's awesome, and I love that. But it's the other side to social media, and the other side to having access to all things at all times that I think is slowly but surely having quite a major impact on everybody, no matter what generation you are. So that's a roundabout way of what a chemical well is, I guess. And it was an easy thing to talk about because it's something that we spend far too much time on.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. There are so many positive things to it, but there's so many negative too. And people use it. It seems, and this is probably not super fair. I think we're more keen to notice like the negative things more than the positive things just as human beings. But it's like we have a wealth of information at the tip of our fingertips, and instead people are like get this weird not only mob mentality, but yeah, get sucked into it. It's like destroying relationships, it's destroying families, it's destroying, like you said, mental health. Like it's such a bizarre, almost like paradox.
I don't think it's anything brand new though. Like bad news sells better than good news, which is, if you look through history, like bad news sells, right? So it's no difference really, just in a different format. It's just a lot more readily available now, whenever you want it. It's not just like a daily newspaper. It's if you want to spend 24 hours looking at fucked up shit, then you can do that. So, like,
unfortunately true.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think I have that morbid curiosity as much in myself. I would much rather hear and see the positive stuff, but I know that that's definitely a minority there.
Totally agree. It's the fact that the ability to access it is always there, right?
For sure, for sure. So you guys have released 3 songs so far. I've looked at the comments. You're getting already really high praises. A lot of people are stoked to hear it. All of it. I've heard all of it multiple times. I always like pick favorites when I listen to albums, but I have changed my favorite probably 5 times, which says a lot about this album. So yeah, do you guys pay attention to the responses, and what has it felt like on your end for what people are saying so far?
Yeah, we were sort of because YouTube is famously just sort of like a cesspit basically in the comments. So it has been a bit of a surprise. We're almost sitting there like the all of the nice comments, like we've read all those now. So we're sitting there waiting, like, oh, where's the hate? Where's the hate? Because
Yeah, you're not getting it.
it's fun to read. But yeah, it has been good. Yeah.
Yeah. So with as much, I mean, time, of course, and effort as you guys have put into this, of course, especially, I mean, what, 4 years, 5 years of it, and that's even prior to what you guys were doing before. It's still a week and a half before the actual release, but has there been a little bit of lessening of anxieties because you've seen such positive feedback so far?
It's me speaking personally. I've had a bit of imposter syndrome around the whole thing, honestly, but, because of the label that we've been signed to.
Yeah.
So that was a bit to wrestle with. So yeah, there has been some anxiety around that, but most of all, like we've just been sat on this stuff for so long now. We just want to get it out there because we were ready to self-release it basically. Like when we changed the name, we were putting ourselves out to labels. We were getting a lot of people saying, "This is great, but you don't even have an Instagram page or anything." So release the band, put out a few singles, and then come back to us with some numbers. So we were days away from like we were ready to go. We were going to drop the first video and everything, and then when we signed to Three Dot, or before we signed, the label manager was like, "Stop what you're doing. Like just leave it. Even if you're not going to sign, just leave it for now, so we can think about it." So yeah, it's been a long old road because that was 6 months ago as well. So everything's just like another month, another month, another month. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, I
It's a
wouldn't say.
big label.
Yeah, we basically built our bass player Dave built a spreadsheet of labels. We had like indie labels on there, and like sort of labels that we thought would be really would fit really well. And then you have like sort of the shoot for the stars. We'll send them an email and we'll see what happens. And Three Dot was part of that group. It's no secret that we've been fans of Periphery for years. Like we went and saw Periphery way back in the UK, probably on like the P3 tour. I want to say, Jamie, around that time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I should go on record to say like Periphery is my favorite band. So, yeah, like it's just been absolutely ridiculous for me. But yeah, like Carl was saying, so we sort of we had categories, and what we were finding was that the labels that we thought we would be a a reasonable get for us, they were the ones who were saying, look, we can't take a punt on you. So then it became about the bigger ones that had the luxury of taking a chance on a band that doesn't have a following. So yeah, we got very lucky, and it was very surreal as well because I remember I was on the family holiday. I was in Rotterdam, and I was on top of the viewing tower, and I'm getting messages through from the lads like we're looking at SoundCloud, like Spencer Sotelo has just been listening to the album. I'm like, what? Yeah, um, yeah, crazy stuff.
Serendipitous moment.
Yeah.
100%.
And I'll tell you what, with them, there's a few labels, very few, that I just am automatically, and maybe this might actually even be the only label of where as soon as I see that they're with Three Dot, I know I'm gonna like it. They're very choosy with who they pick, which they should be. But they pick some of the best artists, and so every time I get a promo for them, I will click on it. Where
Well, yeah, that's where a lot of like I said, the imposter syndrome was kicking in because then I'm thinking like, well, why us? Why have they chosen us? It didn't feel right to me for them to be doing that. Like because yeah, record labels sign bands, but this isn't just any old record label. This is Periphery's record label, so it does carry it has a certain weight of expectation with it. So I suppose that is going back to one of your previous questions. That's another source of anxiety because it does have a weight of expectation on it. And I think a lot of people, like, okay, we're getting positive comments, but there were some people. I think they're expecting Periphery to sign another progressive metal band. So I
mm,
think, but the space between when we were announced to then when our first song came out, I think some people were a little bit like, oh, okay, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, which is fine. Like I totally understand that, what you know, why you'd think it was going to be something that it isn't, but yeah.
Well, as someone who consumes a ridiculous amount of music, I think you guys are very well deserved on that label. I
Thank
liked
you.
it right off the bat. I showed my son because my son is a guitar player. He's a beast on the guitar, and he's been liking like heavier and heavier stuff. And so I was like, all right, I found one that I know you're gonna like, and he automatically was like, yep. And so you're already a household favorite in our house, and
Thank you so
definitely well
much.
deserved. I get the imposter syndrome. I know it's hard
Yeah.
to accept that when you're the one who's creating it, but on the outside, definitely deserved.
It just,
Thank you.
I think for us, it was just completely surreal. Like Jamie said, like, you know, we're all just friends first and foremost that just meet up every week in a room and just jam some songs out. And I think we probably didn't realize at the time how far we were pushing each other to make the songs as good as what, well, everybody seems to think that they are. And for us, it was just like, well, we just, you know, this is just some more songs from us. Like, why would we expect anything else than what we've done in the past, right? So, you know, the opportunity of being signed to Three Dot is not lost on us at all. Like, we're, you know, super appreciative of everything that the guys have done for us so far, and you know, we can't wait to get this album out. In and amongst the anxiety and the imposter syndrome, but you know, can't wait to get it out and go and play live. And yeah, you know, we've been playing together live now for 10 plus years, so you know, we feel like we're pretty ready
Yeah.
when we go on stage.
Yeah. So that's the next thing with you guys having this label. I know it's the music industry has changed so much over the years, but is that something that you guys have started planning yet? A tour? And if you are, do you know like kind of whereabouts or what the vision is at this point? I know it's still pretty new, but
Not yet. We're waiting to see how the albums receive
Mhm.
to see where, because obviously we're going to need a booking agent, so we've got to see where, you know, where we can be pitched, what sort of level we're looking at there, because we're like Kyle said, we've been playing together for over 10 years, and we've been playing what you would call toilet circuit, not even club circuit really, just sort of like pubs and the odd like we've played the odd O2 and Underworld and things like that, but for the most part it's just sort of back to pubs and things like that. So
You know, they have their own merit. They are cool to do, but you know, I
not
think
knocking it, yeah, the best times of our lives, but we're changing the name of the band and everything. We want to, you know, we've drawn a line in the sand there, right? So that was before. Let's see, you
what we
know,
can do
what
next.
comes after now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So with that, what would it like, let's just say this is gonna go in the best direction, which I can't imagine it well as long as you guys are able to get it out there. I know it's like both easy and difficult to get to be competing against so much other music out there because people are able to get it out, you know,
Mhm.
quickly where that used to not be the case. But what would be like your dream tour place and with who? And I don't know if you guys will have different answers or not, but
we'll definitely have different answers. One thing about us as a band is we all come from different directions. I don't think it's unusual
yeah,
for bands to have different influences and stuff, but I think with us, there's like a handful. Literally, you could probably count on one hand the amount of bands that we agree on that are like, yeah, they're the
crazy.
ones. Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse because I can't recommend these guys any death metal because it just gets laughed out. And then, you know, Lewis will chuck some electronic stuff at us or whatever. And yeah, it's fun. But for me, um, I grew up around like the death metal scene, like traveled in Europe. Like my summer holidays with my friends was not going to, you know, a beach holiday and drinking cocktails on a beach and going clubbing and things like that. Like our summer holidays were going to festivals in Europe. So I went to Wacken in Germany. You know, playing Wacken would be super cool with anybody. I don't care who's on the lineup at Wacken. Like you're playing Wacken. I've never been to a place like that before, and I've never had the opportunity to play anything like that. So that'd probably be the top one. If we're talking the UK in terms of venues, I think we were probably a year too late, but Periphery just played the Roundhouse earlier on this year, which would have been super cool as well, right? So yeah.
Okay. What about you, Jamie?
Yeah, pretty similar to Carl. Like we were previously signed to a German record label, and there were sort of murmurings of tour in Europe, but they never came to fruition. So it would be nice just to cross that off the list finally. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys are so humble. You're just like, I mean, rapping is obviously a big one, but still you guys have such like humble responses. And I get that. I get that, but I just
It's
like
because we've been doing this for so long. Like we know what the levels are. So yeah.
well, I want to move into what I think I've decided is my favorite. I love the whole album, so it's a difficult say. But with nothing. Tell me about with nothing.
It's a bitch to play live. That's what it is. It's the one. It's the one that we all look at each other and go, right, A game here, boys. Like let's make sure we're bringing it here. That was, I think, the original idea for With Nothing. Was the original riff was probably before Witness. It was one of them songs that was like thrown away that then got rehashed later on, and then we've got to give credit to Sam Bloor, who we recorded the album with, and just massive shout out to him and Johnny at Lower Lane Studios, because they transformed some of these songs into what they are now and made them sound the way they are. But we did a pre-production day with Sam in the studio, and that was one of the songs that we took because we were happy with it, but we were like, could it be taken to another level? And Sam sat there and listened to it, and he's like, this is cool, but I think this should happen. And the break halfway through the song where the clean vocals start, that was all Sam. And I think when you go to record an album with somebody and you've got these songs and you've been sat on them for so long, you can hear them too much and not be able to have an outsider perspective on it. And, we've been in recorded Witness with Sam previously, trusted his opinion and trusted his judgment massively. And, Sam was a big part of creating that song and turning it into what it is. But yeah, it's definitely the more techie song, I guess, on the album. So yeah, we're happy with how it turned out.
Wow, that sounds great. Now Jamie, I believe you do the clean vocals, right?
Yeah.
You have a little bit of a Matt Holt from Nothing Face sound to your clean vocal.
Okay.
I kept trying to figure out what it was. I was like, what am I like hearing? And I'm a huge Nothing Face fan, and so I finally was like, it's a little bit of a. I don't know if you've listened to them before, but
No, I'm not. I'm not familiar with his voice. No,
oh,
sorry.
you should
We'll
check it
check him
out
out for sure.
because he's absolutely incredible, and you have very similar vocal sound.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this. Like, I was basically peer pressured into singing on the album. Like singing was just something that I did for myself. What happened was is we years and years ago we toured with a band who we used to ride on their coattails, basically a band called Akoda, who some of the members have gone on to do big things. But anyway, um, we were playing with them one night, and the microphone dropped out the stand, and I went and picked it up. I knew all their songs because I'm a fan, so I just sang the next bit, and I turned around, and then like everyone's jaw was on the floor basically, and I like looked and went, "Oh no, I shouldn't have let them know." So
Shouldn't
like,
have let the cat out of the
yeah,
bag.
ever since that day, they're just like, "You're gonna sing, you're gonna sing, you're gonna sing," and then like I think like Cal said, I wasn't even gonna sing on that song, and then Sam's like put in a clean section. It's like, oh right, okay, here we go. So yeah.
I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we did it. I don't condone bullying at all, but like the peer pressure side of that, when somebody can sing like that, I think we were like, this is just, it's another element to our band that we can add, that we can utilize as and when it's required. I don't think we're ever going to be one of them bands with big soaring choruses. I don't think Jamie's more than capable of doing that, but that's not where we aim to be. But if we've got it in our arsenal to bring it out as and when we feel like it's required, then yeah, it's a nice thing to have. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely brings just another level. Um, but yeah, I obviously the majority is harsh vocals, but it is cool to have, yeah, just that kind of, I like music that catches me by surprise. So when I like think, oh, okay, I get what they're doing, I know what they're doing, and then there's an extra like layer, there's a twist. I love that. And you guys are really good at that in a lot of different ways, not just vocally, but in a lot of different ways. And so
Thank you. That was definitely what we were going for on a lot of moments on the album. Actually, is just yeah, that was one of the failings basically in Lay Siege. Is it was all quite predictable. So yeah, we made a conscious effort to be putting in little, like we would quite often write the bones of a song and then we'd play it a few times and go like, right, how can we elevate this basically? How, and yeah, so yeah, thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, you guys did a great job. So the first one I think that caught my ear automatically was Immaculate. Tell me about that one.
Which one's that, Carl? I've
I
still
do
got,
this in interviews all the time.
yeah,
I'm
because
like,
we
it's your own
we've
song.
got like stupid names for all of the songs that we still call
Yeah,
them by.
the
So
working titles.
is that hypocritical?
Yeah, hypocritical.
Right.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, um, that song is again. I think that came pretty soon after Witness. That one, and I think with that one, it was more of a let's get some more chugs in. It was something
Yeah.
that we hadn't tried before, and we just wanted. I think when we were writing that one, the ending was something that we just were like, we need something live where there's just a complete dead stop. People think the song's done, and like the sort of the breakdown or the ending comes on like the offbeat. And there's a video of us playing it live just before COVID because we debuted a couple of these songs, and my wife essentially she videoed it, and there's someone in the background going oh like that in the background. So we were like, we watched that back and we were like, okay, like that works. Like, so we'll keep that and we'll do more of that. So yeah, that was cool. So yeah, I'm glad that one's translated because yeah, we were like not sure because of the age of the song whether it like maybe worn out a little bit, but I'm glad it's translating well and you like it.
Yeah, it was the first one that I was like, oh, okay, okay. And then I listened to the album again. I would be like, okay, no, no, this one. And I just kept there is so many layers to each song, and it depends on where I'm listening. So if I'm listening on my computer, if I'm listening on my phone, if I'm listening in my car, you can hear different things. And so, giving it the test of all different locations just kept embellishing the songs more and more to where I was like, oh man, I can't pick a favorite. But um
That's one of the things we've noticed actually. All the comments have been nice, like you said, like which has been crazy, but there doesn't seem to be like a consistent band that people are comparing us to. Which
yeah.
I've shown the album to my friends and things like that. And they're like, "Oh, you sound like this band," and someone else will say you sound like that band, and that's encouraging. That we can't be sort of pigeonholed in that way. I know we're going to come under the sort of the metalcore gen umbrella, and that's what it's going to what it's going to be. But in terms of actual like comparisons to bands, the fact that there's been so many is only a good thing in my opinion.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I definitely wouldn't have been able to categorize you guys as oh, sounds like for that exact reason. And that's really cool because that's very difficult to do these days.
Yeah, it
I
wasn't on
think
purpose, was it? Really, it was just kind of. I think that's just the. I spoke about the influences earlier. We've got so many different ones that they all sort of merge into that, and that thing is what it is, and not really like anything else. Which, yeah, is
I think
crazy.
it comes from playing with each other for so long as well. Because like when you like start a band, you're always looking for some common threads to draw together. But we're way past that now, so we sort of at this point we really are just doing our own thing. There's certain bits if we get stuck on a song like in Radiant, for example, we just needed like a section. And I literally just thought like, well, let's just take The Hills Have Eyes by Acacia Strain. I'm like, let's just drop The Hills Have Eyes right into this like 8-10 seconds or whatever here, and then that was that. But apart from that, we're not like consciously like, well, yeah, we need to sound like this, put more of this in or anything. It's just what we do at this point. So I think that's probably why we're not sounding like other bands.
Yeah, which is awesome. Now the lyrical content is pretty heavy. There's a lot of important and heavy topics.
Yeah.
Anytime I interview bands that have important topics, I like to talk about it because I think it's obviously important.
Mhm.
Um, Now, first of all, tell me a little bit about like your I want to say lyrical inspiration, but it's obvious. I mean, it's life, it's the world.
Yeah.
But how are you able to like kind of pull some of that stuff out of you?
Um, I tried to challenge myself on this record. You know, it wasn't just the music that we wanted to make better. It was the lyrical content. I think in the past, from a perspective, like from my perspective, I've written a lot of lyrics of I and we and you know a lot of internal sort of stuff. Whereas this record was more of an observation on things, which I think made it easier in one way and more difficult in another because I'd never really written lyrics in that style. So it definitely took a while for me to get used to doing that. And I think again, I'm a participant in social media, so you know it would be anything like scrolling through the day, and I'd be like, "Well, that's pissed me off," and "Well, that's ruined my day," or "That's made me feel in a particular way," or I'd just come across you know something someone said, or seen something in a book, or seen something anywhere. Yeah, lyrical inspirations is a weird one. It's a bit like writing music. It's not a light switch. You can't just turn it on or off. I think that's when you put too much pressure on yourself, and probably when your worst work comes out. So I was lucky that we had the time to spend on the lyrics and make sure they were as I wanted them to be. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily like a concept record or anything like that, but to challenge myself to have you know a consistent theme throughout and things that tie together in a way that represents the title of the album was something that I really tried to do. So yeah, it was a challenge. It was fun. We've got to do something better now, haven't we? So that's the next thing on the list.
Yeah. You mentioned sometimes something that you've read. So is that like are you a book reader or are you just seeing like things that you
Anything and everything. I'm not the only books I really read now are children's books because I've got two young children. So I don't think I'm going to be able to draw much inspiration from
I don't know,
those.
there's a lot of philosophy in some of those kids'
Yeah,
books.
yeah, yeah. Every Disney film, a parent dies, right? So let's probably do something on that. But um, yeah, no, not really a book reader as such. I love reading lyrics of other bands, which is you know a big thing for me. Like yeah, like Vincent Bennett from the Casey Strain. Like I don't necessarily try and do the same lyrics as him, but I love how he can say something that if you were to say it out loud would sound super cheesy, but he can make it sound like the meanest thing ever and make it sound so cool. And then Trevor, Black Dahlia Murder, like I said, come from a lot more of a death metal background. So like his way with words was just fascinating. It's just incredible, and a huge loss to metal in general. Um, yeah, and then the gore stuff from like Cannibal Corpse growing up, like you know, you first hear Limp Bizkit and you hear the word "fuck" for the first time, you're like, "Whoa!" You're like, "This is never going to get more extreme than this." And then someone shows you "Hammer Smash Face" by Cannibal Corpse, and you're like, "I had no idea this stuff existed." So yeah, it's a whole wide ranging of influences, and I just try and put my own spin on it more than anything else.
Yeah. So with the heavy topics, and even just with life in general, having the extreme ups and downs that it tends to have, and then you add like the stress and even excitement, obviously, of creating music with the stress as well. What are some things that you guys do for self-care, for your mental health, to try to keep yourself kind of balanced and not like falling into to all of it?
Meeting up on every Sunday, Jamie. We always say this to
Yeah, I
each
was
other.
just about to say, like, the band is the self-help group. Like, sometimes we meet up and we don't get anything done because we just sit there for 2 hours, just sort of listing off our problems. So, a lot of men don't have this in their friendship groups. We're quite lucky, really. We're very open with each other. I'm pretty sure we tell each other stuff that we might not even tell our wives and everything, you know. So yeah, we're pretty lucky guys to be. We're quite emotionally close to each other. So. Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, that and just general stuff like having a family is obviously great. I've got two kids you know, a wife, and it's just, you know, they're them things are the things that get you through the day. And you know, this is a hobby, first and foremost. And you know, we've said it in other pieces as well. Like, if this turns into nothing and this goes nowhere, and we don't, you know, achieve the things that we do, that's not it's not going to be something that we're like, right, turn our backs on each other and see you later, and we'll never see each other again. Like, this will just continue as it is in one way or one form or another, no matter what. So you know, it's yeah, that's what we do, just as friends.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is amazing because I think it is difficult for many men to be able to be comfortable sharing their emotions, especially with their bros, right? And so that is really amazing that you guys have that kind of a friendship and bond. It's so important. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
And
totally.
there, I mean, really, your band is like your other family. You spend so much time together, especially if you guys, start touring together. You spend so much time together. It is kind of your second family.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
we've known each other long enough now to be honest with each other as well. Like, if someone's doing something that's pissing someone else off, no one takes it personally. It's just, you know, yeah, I think, you know, like you said then, like, we're very lucky to have it. We really are. Probably take it for granted sometimes, but it's just how things are. But yeah, we're super grateful for each other, and just like doing this thing together as just friends. It's just yeah, it's just cool that we're in this position, talking to you, releasing an album, doing all of this cool stuff that we've all dreamed of for years. You know, whilst also being really close with each other. It's yeah, it's a cool thing to be a part of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you guys have another single that you're going to release before the album, or you are?
Yeah, Momentary Death is coming out, isn't it?
Oh, that
Yeah,
one's
so
so good too.
on
Oh my gosh.
on the day that the album comes out, there's going to be a video. I don't know. I'm assuming there's not going to be any real trouble we can get into for for saying that, but yeah,
So
yeah, there's
good.
another
That
video coming basically.
that one actually might have been my first favorite. That one is so
You've
good.
changed your favourite
Um,
in the space of half an hour, Nico. That's what's happened here. You're like gone from one to another to another, which is
I
cool.
can't yes, every single time. I there's like I said, there's something that pops out of a song that I maybe didn't like pay attention to before or hear before, and it just makes that song that much better. And so yeah, I just keep yeah, I keep saying a favorite, a favorite, a favorite, but clearly I think at this point we can all tell that we're all favorites.
It's
I
great.
did want to talk about the last song too, which has a very long title, so I'm gonna have to look at it. A slow shift to a cold shiver. Tell me about that one.
What do you want to say about it?
I've spoken so much, so please go ahead.
Um, that one was like so that song. That was on life support for years. Basically, it was there's bits of a song that we just sort of we kept changing it all the time, and the other three guys wanted to get rid of it, I think, but I just kept saying, look, there's something here with it, and we went and did the pre-production day, and we came away with a lot of different like tools, basically songwriting tools, and so I like took it upon myself. I'm like, right, I'm gonna fix this song. So I sat down and redid the song, and then we went into the studio, and then Sam changed the whole thing. So what I was away for a wedding one day, and we were a little bit worried about this track basically. And I come in from the day after the wedding, and I walked in. Carl looks at me. He's like, "Sam's fixed." Oh, the song was called Calzone, by the way. He's like, "Sam's fixed Calzone," and I'm like, "Oh, thank God." So Sam basically there was what there's like three or four parts in that song, right? There used to be like six or seven, and there was a riff on there that Dave, our bassist, wrote and everything. And yeah, came in and Sam was just like, I've just deleted the last half of the song and then just like copied the rest of it across, and it is so much better. Yeah, but
Uh,
yeah, there was things like that to try and like perform CPR on the song. I've like I dropped it into like a different tuning and um yeah, moving bits about. We just could not get it to work. But sometimes you just need a fresh pair of ears on it, really.
yeah.
So. Yeah, it's like what that one more than any other song. Like all the music was written by me, but it was arranged by Sam Bloor, basically, I think is fair to say.
He deserves a lot of credit.
I think he
Uh,
even said he's like, I've fixed your song, mate. So
you're like, I was gone for one day, or I was gone for just
yeah, yeah.
We just released them live sessions, and that's I think again. Don't think we're going to get into any trouble. That was one of the songs that we chose to do in the
awesome.
live session. And I remember turning up to the live session, and he was like, "Oh, what songs are you going to do?" And we're like, "We're going to do Second Sun, and we're going to do Radiant, and we're going to do Slow Shift." And he's like, "Oh, that's a good song, that one." And we were like, "Yeah, yeah, Sam, we know you fixed it for us."
He's all taking credit for it. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good one.
he deserves it. He really does.
So, how long have you been playing guitar, Jamie?
Let me think. I first started off on bass when I was like 14. Basically, I wanted to be Ty out of Alien Ant Farm. I thought that he was just like the coolest guy that I'd ever seen. And then I wanted to be Ben Kenny out of Incubus. And then, well, I was like playing and just, me and friends from school would just be sitting around playing guitar. And I noticed basically I was getting frustrated because I could play the guitar better than the other two guys that were playing the guitar. So I ended up picking up a guitar, and then that was that. So yeah, since like 15 maybe, so 20 years, which is embarrassing to say out loud because I'm nowhere near as good as I should be for playing for 20 years. So
No, yeah, I mean, I think playing what the song needs is a whole different thing than
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
being showy, you know.
Mhm. That's
Um,
it was never my ambition really. Like like it's a bit of a funny one. Like my favorite band's Periphery, but I don't have any intention of shredding or playing that kind of stuff. To me, it looks stressful. When I'm up on the stage, I don't want to be worrying about, oh God, that part's coming up. Like I'm not interested in getting involved in that. Do you know what I mean? Like and I feel like a lot of like the subgenres, I listen to a lot of like tech metal and prog metal, and it's some of it's just like an arms race. And like I don't want to get involved in the arms race of that. Like I'm over here, like I'll do my thing. I really like what you're doing, but like I'm gonna do this basically. So
that makes
yeah.
sense. We just went and saw Polini and Animals as Leaders last night, and
Yes.
while they, of course, just make it look easy, you know that there is like some serious either they got to be playing still in their sleep or they're not near as calm as they look when they're playing.
Yeah, I mean like the
Tyson
anxiety
looks
must
pretty
just be
chill,
off the
doesn't he?
charts. Like especially if it's a song that's new and that like you're not massively confident on. I don't know. I'm speaking for him here, but I mean, well, Tyson's just a different.
He's a
He's not
beast.
really a human being, is he? He's like some cyborg. So yeah,
Yeah, he's a beast. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And just makes it look easy. So, yeah, it's insane. But I totally get that. Absolutely. Of not wanting to, you want to have fun. You want to enjoy what you're doing. You don't want to stress
yeah,
yourself out.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did make strides on this album. Like there's the song Brand New Damage, and
Mhm.
it's like there's a lot of like tremolo picking on the top string because I'm playing 7 string guitar. So that took a while for me to get to the stage where right, I'm ready to track this. And then I found that just learning to do that, like then that sort of brushed off on now I can play faster things and everything. So yeah, I'll make like incremental small improvements over the years basically. But yeah.
I like the end of that song. I like how it ends with like the slower melody.
That was originally so they're like chords. They were guitar chords that were in the middle section of the song that we just decided was not working anymore. And I had like all the electronic parts for that on in Cubase demoed up. So I'm like, well, let's just slap those on the end then. Like that's a cool way of
It's a
finishing the song.
beautiful
Yeah.
ending. Absolutely. And how long have you been doing vocals, Carl? I know that that obviously is an art form all in itself. People are like that don't get it, think that you can just get up and do it without understanding that
Yeah.
it's very complex.
Yeah, I always try and explain that to people. Like, it is shouting. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But if you try and ever have an argument with somebody for half an hour every single day, like your voice is going to go. There's obviously a technique to it, and it didn't come to me naturally. doing vocals was, I just wanted to be in a band, and I couldn't play any instruments. I wasn't as fortunate as Jamie is walking into a room and going, "I'm better than you." I was like, right, I want to be in a band. I don't have any instruments. I can't play any instruments. Let's give vocals a go. And yeah, there's some horrific recordings of me from like when I first started doing it, which I hope never see the light of day. But they're there.
I'm gonna
And
dig for him now.
please don't. Please don't. But yeah, I just over time just became more more comfortable with doing screaming. I can't sing, which is why we had to peer pressure Jamie to do the singing on the record because no one
You
wants
can
to.
do bits. That's not true.
Little bits maybe. I might get away with it live if the microphone's like really far away from me, but it's not going to be my bread and butter ever. So yeah, I've been doing it for probably the same amount of time as Jamie. You know, like I played my first show when I was like 12 or 13, I think it was. Like
Wow.
just like Limp Bizkit covers and Papa Roach covers and whatever back then, which was super cool. Yeah, and probably did more for me than I realized. But yeah, just progressing from there. Like I said, I got into like death metal and was like, I need to sound like a monster. And then it went from there. And then, met these guys, obviously had more sort of hardcore influences. So, I was always into like the Hatebreed and things like that. But these guys introduced me to other things. And just over the years, I've just become more comfortable with my instrument, I guess, and kind of known what I can do, what I can't do, what my capabilities are, and just leaned into it really. And I think that's the theme for a lot of the record is that, like Jamie said, he's not going to be, soloing and doing sweep guitar. Like that's not what we're there to do. And that was one of the things that we really did was like found out what we were good at and just tried to hone in on that and make those things as good as we possibly could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. My son's been trying to learn how to do the harsh vocals, and he was thinking, yeah, well, yeah, you just emanate that voice, you just do it, and he can do it, but quietly. And I'm like, no, like you got the pitch, but you got to be able to belt that and without hurting your vocal cords. So you
Yeah.
got to learn how to do it accurately.
I mean, I'm probably like, a lot of other metal vocalists, amateur metal vocalists at the time when Melissa Cross came out with like the Zen of Screaming back when she was like, Lamb of God and Shadows Fall and all of them guys. That was like a huge movement of music anyway for me. And when she was like, there's a technique to this and you don't have to hurt your voice. And there was a few things I picked up from there. And I think just doing it over time, you just get a bit more used to it. But yeah, she was the first person to be like, don't fuck your voice up, like do it
Yeah,
properly,
yeah,
and look after yourself, and that makes you sort of go, okay, like maybe I need to do things a little bit differently.
yeah. Or else you're not going to be doing it for very long.
Still here though, so I must be doing something right.
Yeah, no, you guys, your voice is incredible. You guys
Thank you.
definitely complement each other well in so many different aspects, and yeah, your vocals are it almost it reminds me just a little bit of Winston from Parkway Drive. You have a little bit of a Winston,
Nice. I'll
yeah,
take that.
yeah.
It's another band we've not been compared to. So thanks very
Oh my
much.
gosh. Yeah, no, they're incredible. But no, you have an absolutely insane voice. Um, album is so good. I'm so excited to see what's going to happen with you guys. I'm hoping that you get the reach that you deserve. I know that that's the hardest part of it. And you have to, like you said, you have to use social media
Yeah.
to do it, which is such a difficult thing when you're trying to talk about what you're talking about. That's so
Yeah.
important, but it is so necessary. So I definitely hope that people get the I will be spreading awareness as much as I can, and I hope that you guys get the reach that you deserve because I very talented. I can see this going far, and I really really wish that for you guys.
Thank you
Thank
so much. Yeah, you've been so kind. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I speak the truth. I'm not going to BS you. I don't. I pick who I wanna interview, and because it's easier. I'm not gonna interview
you.
people that I'm gonna have to like have a difficult time speaking positive things about their music just because it's not my thing. All music is great, but
Well, thank you for picking us. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to talking to you in the future with what you guys have coming up next.
Yeah,
Fingers
sure.
crossed.
Yeah, we'd love to be
Thanks.
back. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Awesome. 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 Have a great day, guys.
Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you.
Take care of yourself. Thank you
Thanks.
so
Bye.
much.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.